All right, here we go. Welcome, team, and welcome to Next Level JJ. It's good to have you. Hopefully you've been doing well, enjoying this new year so far. Yes, today is the culmination of a good amount of work. You know, DCS that we're going to be playing tonight is definitely something of a learning curve, but I've been enjoying every moment of it. Addicted, you know, sitting up till late at night, just tuning things, learning things, adjusting things. It's been a lot of fun. Now, before we get into anything else, let's talk a little bit about my channel. So as you would have heard from previous streams, you know, we're firing this up. We're starting, you know, from something small with the aim to eventually have a very big community and just have a lot of fun with it. And so how can you help with that? Well, that's very easy. If you head over to nextleveljj.com, you'll find everything you need to know about me, our channel, the socials, my schedule, as well as my top 100 list and other fun stuff. So yeah, check it out. Now we're adding technology as we go. You know, we're running a green screen today. I'm streaming in the day, and that's just because I figured out that we probably want to find ourselves live in more sort of Central Europe and American time zones. But the added benefit of that is because of the natural light that we get from outside, it does mean that the green screen looks a lot better. So winner, chicken dinner. Now, as always, Stream Beats by Harris Heller, they just know how to rock it. Tonight, we're listening to their Legends album. So just on screen there on the left, just cracking tunes. Like, I enjoy it so much. And more often than not, I hit the like button and add it to my liked list. Now, as we said, today, the plan is very simple. We are going to start the Tomcat. We're going to launch the Tomcat, and then, and this is the hard part, trust me, we're going to land it. Now, if you watch any of my previous streams, you would have seen me go through the meticulous process of starting the Tomcat. And this is, if you didn't know, DCS Digital Combat Simulator is as real as it's going to get. You have to follow, I think it's NATOPS or whatever, you have to follow the actual process that a real pilot and their Rio in the back would follow to be able to start this jet, communicate to the outside people on flight deck, properly connect to the catapult launch. And so it's been a lot of fun learning. And so what I'll do as part of this is I'll show you some of the things that I've been doing just to get up to speed with this game. All right, so first and foremost, let's just quickly flick over here into DCS and just not DCS, the actual website. So we'll just fire over here. Yeah, here's my website. You know, details about me, details about my socials, so easy to go, and then the schedule. So after the stream today, I'll be releasing my schedule for this week. And so this will include, you know, various things like Clair Obscure. I continue my journey in that. Rocket League, I did an absolutely epic stream last night, yesterday on Rocket League. So go and check that out. I will be compiling highlights as well tonight. It was epic. Just basically the last match just pushed my heart rate over 130, which if you're sitting down is pretty pumped. Obviously we're here, and then this goes back into the past. You know, did a nice little Sea of Thieves stream, had a lot of fun with the Assetto Corsa, and then here you can see Hooked on a relationship. Sorry, titles are very obscure sometimes. A lot of Diablo. I co-streamed the Stream Wars, but we will get into it. Now, DCS Digital Combat Simulator, very simply, it is a free to download game. And this game comes standard with 2 free jets, well, technically 1 prop, 1 jet, but really good. You can just fire it up. It does take a bit of hard drive space, and you have to have an okay computer, but you can turn things down to the lowest if you want, and then you can enjoy it as a complete noob. There's so much great training courses and stuff in game that you can take to get you to start your your Mustang, thank you, or your Frogfoot, whichever you prefer, and then you can take it from there. But the great thing about DCS, as you can see on screen, is there is an absolute insane amount of extremely high detailed aircraft, and this is I'm only in the plane section. There are helicopters, you name it. And so, you know, for me, I'm sure as with many of you, the Tomcat's always been the absolute pinnacle of want to learn to fly. You know, from a little kid just playing the Top Gun game in the arcade, you know, you had a joystick and it was very sort of 2D, but still pretty freaking epic. And of course, Top Gun, the movie. I actually watched the original Top Gun 2 nights ago, and it was for me just such a great feeling. You know, it's obviously cheesy, but at the same time, it's dangerous to say, but I would say it's basically aerialography. You know, it is just the most beautiful ode to aviation, and I think they did the same with Top Gun 2, so kudos to the team there. And so, yeah, I purchased the Tomcat, but the great news, and if I didn't mention before, many of these give you a 2-week trial. So if you go, you know what, I've always wanted to fly an F-16, but I don't have the cash right now, you should be able to. I can't confirm this, but you should be able to go in and trial it for 2 weeks. And I think if you get into it, like I've gotten into the Tomcat, every cent that you'll pay, and they are expensive, but every cent you'll pay will be very much worth it. In this case, the Tomcat, it's a chunky, it's probably the most expensive plane if I'm not incorrect, not incorrect, you know what I mean. But on top of that, you can just fly it normally, but I want to do carrier missions, so you have to buy the super carrier as well. But it's not, you don't just get the jets and the carriers, you get missions with it and all kinds of stuff. Enough content that if you play it properly, you will be doing this for a year. So the money you're paying is well worth the time you put in. Now, I thought just a little treat, you know, considering then that you purchase the Tomcat, I thought I'd show you a quick little video that comes from the Heat Blur Simulations, who made the Tomcat in DCS, of course. What it's all about. Enjoy. This is no video, so it's not pre-order. You can just go right ahead and buy it today. You find the right holiday, you can even get it at a discount. Yeah, Heat Blur, kudos to the team. And this is actually the start of their sort of overview of what came in, but I thought I'd just include because get the blood pumping. Here we go. Right, that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we will be flying today. Hey, when you connect into the stream, I would love to ask you a big favor. As per Bubble upstairs, if you're enjoying this so far, hit the like button. I'd love to hear from you. We've got a live chat up. Feel free to add some comments in there. Tell me your experience about DCS. If you want to find out more, and so forth, and so forth. But also, do us a solid if you can. Give us a follow or give us a subscription. As I said, we want to build this out. I really want to involve myself in so many different gaming communities. The DCS community, I already got a friend somewhere in Spain who said he'll fly Rio with me anytime. And so join up. Let's create... I've got a Discord channel up, so feel free to join that. Tell me which game you're most interested in. I'll put you into, sort of sub Discord channels where we'll arrange these things. We can do missions together and so forth. It will be epic. For some of you, you might be asking, well, I've got DCS. I'm playing it. It's a bit hard. How do I get good at it? And so one thing I can't recommend enough is just head over to chucksguides.com. okay. I will at some point, once I get good with DCS, and maybe let's take a step back. It's important for you to know that Next Level JJ, the channel, I am not next level. In some cases I do stuff that's next level. I go and check out my Rocket League stream, but the point is we as a team, we take things to the next level. We start here, but we face our fears, we challenge ourselves, we add new functionality, we keep growing and making new inroads into more advanced technologies and things like that. And so that's what this channel is all about. For me, this DCS journey, it's a long journey, it's a lot to learn. And what I want to do is just, there are an amazing amount of informative videos out there. Trust me, I've seen many of them. But what I'd like to do is when I get to a point where I feel confident that I understand at least the basics of DCS, that I want to do a beautiful video explaining you're at point zero, how to get from there to where I am, and try to share it in such a way that it's consumable, because I watch a lot of videos and I just glance over things where I'm like, what is that? I don't understand. Where do I find that? And so this will be, for me, quite an important journey. But let me stress, if you have a person who knows a lot about DCS watching the stream, you're probably going to go, you missed that, you missed that, you missed that, you missed that. And I know that it is an insane amount of things to go through, but you don't necessarily have to do them to get where you want to be. But when you get there, make sure to then go back and understand what you missed and apply that in, because flying a jet in Digital Combat Simulator is exactly the same as doing it in real life, except for there's no danger and there's no G-forces and there's no responsibility. So I can only say how much I respect everybody that works on these planes and in these planes and around these planes. You have, firstly, you're extremely lucky to have that as a job. If I could live my life over, there's a very good chance I'd love to have just, become an American citizen very early on and work my way up into an F14 or an F22. That would have been the absolute dreams, because unfortunately I'm too young to have flown an F14 unless I did something super special. Anyway, so let's quickly get back to Chuck's Guides. Seriously, when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I want to invest, I'm going to learn how to fly this, then you go to Chuck's Guides and you start at page number 1. If you watch some of my previous streams, I went in cold turkey. I just used the tutorials within DCS, and they do say at the very top of it, hopefully you've read the manual. And I was like, it's just buttons, whatever. It is worth it. If you see, as I go through here, firstly, I've shown this many times before, all the photos in Chuck's Guides is from DCS, and my God, are they some of the most beautiful photos. But DCS does lead itself to that. And of course, referencing the OG, the best jet movie of all time, Top Gun. But it's in here where you can learn a lot about how to configure stuff, how to set things up, how to play, how to enjoy yourself, but also importantly, learning about the aircraft, understanding its functions. And so, there are so many amazing things in here. But being able to just go through and read and understand which button is where will greatly help you. Because I on stream was like, they said push this button, and I was like, I don't fully understand what you're asking me, mate. And so being able to just go through this leisurely, reading about it, understanding it, will put you way ahead of me. The nice thing though is we go, okay, well, today I want to focus on engine startup. You can just open up your side menu and you can go through it in high detail. All right. Now, it's interesting that what I've done for today's stream, start, launch, and land, I think it's very similar to learning any skill, is if you're just watching it with your eyes, your brain doesn't 100% lock it down in its memory. You've got to have an action. Like writing is such a great way when you're learning, it's sort of committing it to memory in a way. And so what I did is for today to start up a jet. All right, I actually went and converted this into a checklist that I follow that makes sense to me and how to follow it to ultimately get my wheels off the deck. And so that's a dangerous word to say in New Zealand if you say it the right way or the Kiwi way. But anyway, and so this helped me commit things to memory, and I would recommend you following that. It's a great way to do it. Now, some of you will be asking, well, what equipment are you using? Remember, if you, at the very top of my stream, there's always the same intro. You can actually see my setup there, but I'm running pretty basic stuff. I've got a gaming laptop, 4050 graphics card, 32 gigs of RAM. That is definitely not top spec, but it's enough to be able to run a stream and run, you know, games at a okay resolution. But you don't need that level of equipment to enjoy this. But also, if you want to fly, keyboard and mouse is fine. If you have a controller, that's fine. But when you want to get into the nitty-gritties, you'll find that at least having a joystick is important. Now, what am I using? Well, I went for the Thrustmaster T16000M HOTAS setup. And so what it means is I get a joystick and a throttle. You can just purchase the joystick individually, or you can purchase a more advanced, this plus the rudder pedal set. I'll probably invest in that rudder very soon. But, you know, for me, these two are that this is good enough. You know, there are equipment out there that costs for one little element as much as an entire set would be, and of course, because the sky is very high when it comes to the quality of equipment, and you can buy joysticks and throttle setups that are specific to the plane that you love, which is super cool. One day, hopefully, you know, when this channel grows, I can put that sort of investment towards stuff. But even just the joystick without the throttle, you'll see this button down here. It is actually a mini throttle, so you could get away with it. And then you go, well, how do I use rudder? The joystick can actually rotate left and right. I've disabled that for obvious reasons, because on the throttle, you'll see where this person's fingers are, there is actually a little rudder pedal there. So very much worth it. And then what do? Well, you configure buttons to it. Now, the configurations out there are spectacular, and there's an amazing community that can share so much for how to do this. But what I've done for today to keep it simple is I created a little map for myself. So as you can see on screen, there's so many of the buttons that are not being used. But, you know, obviously rudder, my direct lift control buttons, we'll talk about that in a minute, adjusting my wing sweep functionalities, trimmers on the joystick, zoom in and out, so as I'm looking around, center my view, and of course trigger, not that I'll use that today. And then the vital buttons for flying, so hook, air brake, gears, direct lift control, flaps up and down, nose wheel steering, parking brake, salute, and wheel brake. Now, if this looks complicated, trust me, when you start out, these things won't be in your mind. You'll just follow the tutorials, and then you'll start craving functionality, and then you'll start investing time into configuring your controls. Now, Thrustmaster uses something called Target. So as you can see on screen here, Target is a software where you can configure your controls to virtually any spec you want. Now, this, I'm going to be honest with you, it is hard to get going in the beginning. There will be bits of stumbles and stuff like that, but I guess it's sort of part of the initiation of becoming a well-skilled DCS pilot, is learning how to configure controls. There is a lot of material out there, and if you're the right kind of person, you read before you do, this will be a lot easier than it was for me, because I'm a do person and then read as I'm doing. But anyway, and so you can select your joystick and your throttle setups. You can see there's even pedals if needed. It concerns me that it's suddenly showing my pedal there. That's not what it should be. I did have a scenario earlier where my yeah, that's very strange, where my computer just crashed out horrendously. Okay, good. And so you can see here is the actual configurations that I do. Once you get used to it, it's actually quite easy, and there is the ability to edit it via scripts, so it gets pretty good. All right, team, I think we've covered quite a lot here as an intro, and what we should do now is we should just get into it. Now, you know, usually I start these streams by just being on the launch ramp catapult and just flying off and flying it. But I think today the whole goal is just to follow this step by step. And so we are going to get into it. Let me just clarify. I am in no way really good at this yet. That's not the point of this channel. Then it wouldn't be next level. It would just be the highest level. And the whole point is us taking it up and stepping up. And so this is a amateur DCS person with not a lot of time investing into trying to learn how to do this right. And so if you're watching this and you know more, don't be shy. Hit the comments, hit the chat. You know, I'm open to learning a little bit more, and yeah, together, you know, we can take things to the next level. Now, before I forget, I have to run my configuration. If you do that, then DCS will actually work with your keyboard, mouse configurations, and so forth. All right, let's do it. Let's get into DCS. There we go. All right, and then let's turn down that music. All right, so what are we running today? So very simply, I created a very specific map myself, and that's another cool thing. If you didn't know, DCS is a very, very good campaign and mission editor function, and so you can very easily put together just stuff like this. And I'm sure there is online resources that I could have used for this, but I just thought, you know what, I want to make something bespoke to the way I want it. And so basically we're on the Truman carrier, and we're sitting on what they call the ramp. The engine is cold, and so we're going to follow the startup procedure step by step until we've got the engine started. Then we will taxi on out, and then once we've taxied out, we will just take off. All right, and we're also starting at, I think it is 6 a.m. in the morning, so I've tried to time it well with a bit of a sunrise, and so let's see how that works out. Now, something I didn't mention, but something that I've got, I use a head tracking system. Now, it's not Track IR. That is something that you can invest a good amount of money into, but basically what I'm running is a platform on my PC called OpenTrack, very easy to use. And then you also have, sorry, and I'm just trying to refresh my memory on the name of the iPhone app. It's called SmoothTrack. And so basically SmoothTrack uses the infrared camera on the front of your phone, which usually is used to lock your screen. And that is then connected to OpenTrack, and basically you can see I get head movement here, which is absolutely awesome. And so very gentle movements allow you to do it, and trust me, you're going to need to do this, because as you can see when you look down, you need this to be able to enable buttons and so forth. And then I've configured a couple of things. So on my joystick I've got zoom in and out as well, because sometimes you need to be able to see what you're doing, especially when it comes to speed and altimeter. And of course, you know, for instance, behind you here, you'll see there's over there is your ejection sheet arming button, and so you need that as part of your flight procedure startup. All right, so without further ado, shall we start this puppy up? Now, you will see me looking left a couple of times, and that's just because that's where my checklist stands. All right, sip of water. Cheers. Lovely. Cool. So the first thing we need to do to get started here is we salute the ground crew, and I guess that is to inform them that we are starting now with starting the jet up. So we salute, and so he goes, all right, well, let's do it. Now, first thing we want to do is we want to talk to them, and we want to talk to the ground crew, and we want to connect ground electrical power. And that's because this jet does not have its own auxiliary power unit or whatever. You need power from the ground to start it. Once it's started, it runs on its own internal power. So,
Chief, turn on the ground power. Copy.
cool. Now, you'll see the communications.
Ground power is now on.
You won't see it because actually the chat up in the top left is just over that. So I think what I'll quickly do here, hold on team, these are things you sort of learn whilst you're on air. Just move that down just a little bit, transition. Okay, hopefully that's enough. And now we have to speak to ground crew again because we need to connect ground air supply.
Connect ground air supply.
There we go, that worked. Perfect. Okay.
Copy. Ground air supply is now connected.
Cool. So as you can see, the jet's got power now, and you would have heard just slight volume increase. Now we're getting air from outside. And so now we're going to set to hot mic. And the reason for that is pretty simple. This means now that I can communicate with Jester without having to push a mic button. So for those who don't know, Jester is an AI. He's basically flying as Rio today. So F14 Tomcat needs 2 people. Rio in the back is basically operating radio and radar and things like that. Okay, so let's talk to Jester.
You got it.
And so I'm telling him now that we want to start up. And so he's going to start with his stuff, and I'll look behind me.
ICS comm check.
Oh no, first we want to say
Okay.
loud and clear. Cool. Ejection seat armed. And he should now... There we go. He should...
Closing canopy.
There we
Check.
go. He should close the canopy because we've got air inside. How cool is that?
Okay, ready to start.
And check the helmet, y'all. We're running Maverick as per usual. Okay, so now we need to just do a couple of checks here. So firstly, we're going to check, is our oxygen the hard one? Yep, oxygen is on. Check wing sweep is in its full aft mode. Check. Now we look down on the right and we check air sources off. Check. Okay, cool. Now we will set hydration transfer pump to shut off, and so basically this is down here. It's a bit tricky sometimes, sorry. Oh dear. Hang on, let's see. So if I sit forward a little bit. There we go. So that's shut off. And then we're going to set emergency flight hydraulic switch to low. That will bring a little bit of a noise up for us. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to verify that here master gen left and right are set to normal. That's perfect. Okay, so a couple of nitty-gritties. There are, of course, many other steps to do that I've seen, especially in training. So, for instance, we're going to want to do a check of all the, warning lights, do tests and things like that. I'm not going to cover that. That's not in the Chuck's guides, so we'll skip that. So, we are ready to start our engine. And so, how do we start our engine? Well, hey, we've got Vidas has joined up. Hey, Vidas, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell me, do you like the F14 or which is your favorite jet? Okay, so start up engine. So we'll start on right side. So we'll flick this over to right. And then we're going to just down here monitor our RPM. And so that should just come up above 2. And then it should show a line. That means engine's ready. And then we flick our right engine throttle up to idle. And now you'll see that these indicators are going to start coming up. And so we also want to just have a look here in our warnings. Yep, okay, that's good. Let's come out a little bit. reset. Now, I will do a stream in VR at some point, team, for sure. This with the... Remember, the head tracking system they're using is extremely cheap. I think all in invested was like $20. And though it's extremely good, especially when you start out, and it will tick all the boxes, I think a track.ir or track IR would work a lot more accurately, but obviously VR will be even better. So we'll do a VR stream at some point. I would say the F14 guy, yeah, man, the Viper. I could see you as a Viper pilot, man. You should, hey, if you got a bit of time, fire up, get DCS downloaded, download the F14. Like I said, I think you can use it for 2 weeks, make those dreams come true. And yeah, I'm happy to guide you on what I've learned so far. Okay, so let's have a look, team. So now we just got to do a quick little check to see what our vitals are. So we should have, let me just do this. Okay, RPM should be between 62 and 78% confirmed. EGT should be around 500 degrees, check. Fuel flow should be between 950 and 1400, check. We need the nozzle position fully open, so if you want to know what a nozzle position is, this thing right down here that shows 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's on 5, so that's good. Then oil pressure should be between 25 to 35 psi. This I found is not accurate, and this is what it shows as standard down here, so it's a little bit higher, but it does drop once we're in motion. And then lastly, flight hydraulic pressure should read 3000. That's this down here. Yep, that's reading cool. Okay, now engine crank would have automatically moved back to center. Now we're going to flick it to left. And now we're watching the left side. So now the engine is starting up slowly. Once we get the line, perfect. We move left throttle to idle, and that again will start the procedure for this time the left engine. And then we have a look down here at our warnings. Yep, there it goes off. Well done. And so now again we just come back here and we're just monitoring vitals. Maybe see if I can zoom that in like that. That looks a little bit better. I'm just looking at my head position on stream and that looks hilarious. There you go. And see, so it drops. Now we know our engine's in its sweet spot. Okay, so let's see. Again, RPM between 62 and 70. Confirmed. EGT 500 degrees, check. Fuel flow between 950 and 1400, check. Nozzles in 5, check. Oil pressure not accurate but correct to what it should be as per normal, equal left and right. And flight hydraulic pressure is up to 3000 ps. Alright, that's a successful engine start. Now there's things to change, so let's just quickly go here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set this to normal. And we're going to set this off. And so the noise stops. Cool. Now, what do? We communicate with ground crew. And we tell them to disconnect
Chief, turn off the ground
ground
power.
electric power. Hey, Vitas, have you done any sort of flying before? You know, even just, you know, jet games, you know, what's a good one? Ace Combat is a good example, and so forth. All right, and then next up, we need to go ground crew, and we need to disconnect ground air supply.
Chief, disconnect ground air supply. Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
Awesome. And so there we go. Now we can actually just indicate to them that we don't need their assistance. We are ready to start with other procedures and then to taxi. Okay, so that's it. Starter procedure done. Now we go into configuring, and so we need to now switch on a couple of things. So our vertical digital indicator, heads up display, and horizontal situation display. And so these are down here. So we move down here. On. Cool. Oh dear. There we go. Now we need to switch HUD to TID. Bang. Cool. Lovely. Next up, we're going to tell Jester to do his INS in fine. And so basically what you do is you push this, and as you can see there, it gives me options, and I go,
Rudder.
INS go fine. All right, if you want to understand what that is, I'm not going to cover that in detail today, but, you know, at some point, maybe we will. Okay, so now we just have a quick look here to see that all of these are configured. Low, off, normal. That's good. And then we check that our anti-skid spoiler is switched to off. And so I always flick it up, down, and then put it in the middle just to make sure. Beautiful. And now we go back here and we do our AFCS, pitch on, roll on, yaw on. And so AFCS stands for Automatic Flight Control Systems. Now, next we're going to check that our wing external trans switch is switched to auto, so that's down here. So again, I flick it up, down, into the middle, then I know that's right. And then we go to our radio setup. So let me just quickly reset my view here, and then I can lean back a little bit, get a better view. And so here we switch this to both. All right. And so that's our UHF-1 radio function, and then we're going to switch our TACAN to transmit receive. So that's this one down here. Click, and zoom out. Now we need to set our ARA 63 ICLS or Instrument Carrier Landing System to receive power, and so that's this one down here. Flick that up. All right. Now, next up, we have to set up our radar altitude. And you see it's off at the moment, and so we just flick it 2 times, and then it should take a few seconds, and now you'll see it's on. And then last but not least, technically at least 2 minutes before takeoff, we need to set our standby attitude gyro ADI. And so here, as per what I saw in the guide, we push that up to its top and then push it in, and then we're good. All right. Cool. So far, so good, team. So far, so good. Now, next up, what we need to do is we want to have a look and see what our mission board looks like. And so this is quite cool. You know, as you can imagine, pilots would have on their leg, they would have a what would we say is the right term for this? Is a knee board, and in this knee board they'll have all kinds of notes and things like that. I've seen in sort of newer setups where people actually are, you know, real fighter pilots are running like type of iPads and things like that, so it's a lot easier to do. So we've got ground settings, that's all correct. There's no bombs or anything on this jet for today, there's no need for it. The tactical data link system, so if we want to connect and discuss stuff with the carrier, it's at 331 megahertz. There's only one waypoint set up for today, various channels. This is great. Once you've landed, you can actually look at the trap sheet and it will show you how you came in and your actual grade. That will be something one day that I really want to get good. And then your attack analyst and so many things here to have a look at. Pretty cool. Okay, so what do we want to do? So we want to have our Rio, who's sitting in the back, typing along. We want to have them set a data link mode, and so we open up this.
Fine.
No.
Aborting startup.
No! Oh, for sakes. Lol. Yeah, and so that is a boo-boo. That is a boo-boo. Jester, I wish that they could redo that. Sorry, I basically just, you use a thumb button to connect and then you have to look in a direction, and what happens if you double tap? You go bang bang into a menu, and I double tapped, but because I was just slightly looking right, it selected an option, and it actually selected the worst option. Hey, you know what? No problem at all. We shift R, and now we quickly go through this. Quickly. Because now I'm not going to explain. I'm just going to fly through it. And practice makes perfect. So we will go through it. Also, I guess let's move ourselves into a more centralized position. And also what's happening here is I flipped the video. And the whole point of flipping it is so that if I'm looking right in the actual software or in the game, I'm looking right as well. So it makes a little bit more sense in my opinion. But hey, if you're enjoying this so far, tell us what you like. If you're watching this after it was live, hit a comment. Tell me what your favorite jet is. You know, do you want to see me fly other jets? You know, just tell us what you think. And also if there's things you think we can do better. All right. Cool. I've also moved chat down to bottom left in this case. And also what you'll notice is there's my heart rate down there. This is something I've been running on a couple of my streams. I think it's quite fun to see, especially, you know, in games that create a bit of stress. You know, Rocket League, like I said, I hit 130 just sitting down. But I think it'll be interesting to see, especially when coming in for a landing, you know, how the heart rate gets elevated as you're trying to focus. So I made it small. It's not too intrusive, but there it is. All right. So let's do this as quickly as we can. Hello, sir. We gesture. We start up. Ground crew.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
Ground crew. Air.
Copy.
Connect.
Connect ground air supply. Copy. Ground power is now on. Ground air supply is now connected.
Boom. Just have to be very careful with gesture.
Wilco. ICS comm check. Can you hear me? Roger.
Loud and clear. Ejection sheet armed. All the checks I'm going to skip because I know they're done. And so,
I'm closing the canopy.
Thank you.
Ready to start.
Oop. All good. Wait for pressure to come up. Pressure is up. And so one thing I figured out, you'll see it says in the middle, awaiting salute gesture. If I salute, they walk away, and then I can't get them to disconnect ground power and air supply. And so you've got to, unfortunately, I'm sure there's a way to remove that, but for now, this is what it is. Okay. Engines are coming up, so it's nice to actually watch this happen in real time. So you'll see here, this is the nozzle position. And then the moment it's happy with everything, it comes around and locks in there, so that's very good. Okay, so that was successful. Then into left, wait for it to come online. Okay, she's ready. Left engine to idle. Oh, it's actually good that I go through this. There was one thing that I did not do. So this is good. See, if you get complacent with running to your checklist, you're going to miss stuff, and that's never a good thing. Alright, cool. And then watch it come down. Excellent. So we're happy with that. Beautiful. So now we come over here. So let me move forward a bit. Again, this would be way smoother with better equipment, but it will do. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to change air to both. Down. Down. Cool. Thanks everybody. And now we can start with disconnecting ground electrical power.
Turn off the ground power. Copy.
And disconnecting ground air supply.
Ground power is now on. Disconnect ground air supply. Copy.
Okay.
Ground
Cool.
air supply is now disconnected.
Nice. So now we're going to on, and TID. And then we're going to come around. Oh, now we first tell Jester
Roger.
to go to fine. Check gun rates and all of that's fine. Anti-skid we know is fine. Now we turn these on. Excellent. We know that's correct. Now we're going to set to both. And that's done. And then coming around here. Switch that to on. Excellent. It's also fun to see how quickly you can do this, because I guess that will be something that you want to achieve. Cool, that's locked in. Excellent. We're not going to check on kneeboard. We know that's right. Now here's the thing. We want to do this. And then we're going to go into data link. And then set mode. And then tactical data link system.
Okay.
Cool. That was where we messed up last time. And then we're going to set our host. So here again, it's data link radio that we're going for this time. So we go bang.
Okay.
Excellent. So we've got that set. Beautiful. Now, what we already can see here is Jester's progress. And so, because we selected fine, if I zoom in a little bit more, you'll see this little triangle pointing down. It takes about 8 minutes. But that is showing the Rio. Now, okay, it's Jester's progress at the moment. How far along is he with configuring the plane and so forth? Let me just see here. Here we go. So he is configuring the INS at the moment to a fine setting. So like I said, it can take up to 8 minutes to achieve. All right, cool. So at this point now we can relax because it's going to take him a little bit longer to do. Okay, so while that's done, we can do some checks. So we can check that our hook bypass switch for the carrier is operating on carrier. And so this is down here. We can see that's on carrier, perfectly fine. And we check that our nose strut which is over here is switched to off. That's confirmed. And so at this point now we're gonna do other things to actually get this plane moving. So now we're in a position where all we have to do is wait for our Rio to complete. And so while that is done, awaiting salute gesture, we've disconnected everything. Thank you. You're G to G. And then we can enjoy a little bit of the beauty that is DCS. Very cool. Okay. So, the moment our Rio is ready to go, he'll say that he's ready to taxi and then we can move. And so what's going to happen then is we're going to be basically enabling. Oh, of course, we want to check that our HUD is in takeoff mode. Confirmed. And then when we're ready to go, we're going to basically enable our nose wheel steering, release the parking brake, and then we're going to taxi out. So not too much longer to wait for that. But yeah, tell me what you think. The process to get to this took a bit of time, but now as you see, when you get comfortable, you can do it fairly quickly. But there's a reason why fighter pilots use real checklists. And that's because no matter how good you get and how well you remember these things, we're human, and so there's always a chance that you're going to miss 1 or 2 steps, and those steps can be critical. So as an example, I got so complacent just flying through my checklist, I forgot to switch the air conditioning to both. What that means, I have no idea. In real life, we'll have to Google that to find that out. Okay, how far is Mr. Rio? Oh, wrong button. There we go. Yeah, not too far to go. Maybe another 2 minutes or so. So, always good to then, while we're waiting for this, familiarize ourselves with our aircraft. And so, here we've got our flaps handle. This is where we control the wing sweep. So at some point, we're going to push this into auto, which is full forward, click down, and then move, close the flap. Here we're able to open up our landing gear or push them down. Here's our parking brake, that's useful. Here's where we can see if our flaps are extended and our speed brake is on or not. Here's our altimeter, and here's the extremely hard to see speed. I'm going to be finding a way to have that display on screen in a better way, because basically if you're sitting back here, especially when you're coming into landing, this is getting obstructed, and you want to be able to see in knots where you are, because you're trying to keep it at about 150 knots here. But then sometimes if you're over here, it's like, I have no idea. You can kind of see the arrow direction, so not ideal. Nothing is wing sweep angle, so here we can see we're currently set to oversweep, and so if I go outside, that just means that this wings is as far back as possible. And the reason for that is simple. Generally on a carrier there'd be a bunch of other jets around, and so you want to make your jet as slim as possible. Let's see, what else are we going to use? So hook comes down here, so that's the hook that we're going to use when we're landing. And then yeah, that's, you know, I guess sort of the main elements that you'll be using. Of course, we've got this as well. Very, very cool. Now, disclaimer, the map that I've set up, I haven't set up perfectly, and so there will be elements that, you know, are missing to make this landing, and I hope that the ship will allow me to land. So I don't know if it configures its wires correctly. We'll have to test that. But basically, if we hit the deck in exactly the right spot, I would hope that we would come to a stop. Heart rate will go up, massive eureka moment. You know, years and years and years and years of dreaming as a kid to do this for realsies, has come to pass. Okay, and so have a look. Looks like our Rio is pretty much almost done. And what you'll see, I've seen before, is the moment he's complete, he'll go through a couple of screens. So I can actually, the reason why I enabled the TID is so that I can see. There we go. See? Now he's cycling through, confirming waypoints, doing all those checks. You can hear him click in the background. There we go. I love the detail that you can hear. I would actually flick back to see what the Rio is doing, but unfortunately I've disabled that button to use it to connect to another function. So we'll get back to that one day. Also, what I will do here is our HUD...
Ready to taxi.
There we go. Our HUD is set to red. I prefer it in green. And as we can see, it's way too bright. So I'll just quickly look up, lock my screen in, and just turn the brightness down because it's coming into daytime. Daytime. Nighttime. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so he's ready to taxi. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So first and foremost, let me just have to quickly change something on my other screen. Okay, so we are going to enable nose wheel steering. And so you'll see when I do that, a yellow light comes on there, so nose wheel steering is on. And then we have to put our parking brake down. And so parking brake, you'll see that lever over there. I've got a button configured to it. And there we go. We are ready to taxi. And so what we're going to be doing is taking off from catapult number 1. And so you can see catapult 1 is the one on the far right over there. All right, so full right rudder. And we bring engine up slowly, keeping our finger ready on the brake. Now this would be usually on pedals, so I had to configure it on my controls, and so A little bit up. There we go. Okay, now annoyingly, this can happen sometimes, I've seen, is if you don't turn exactly the way that the on-flight deck crew signals to you, it doesn't move to the next waypoint. So there we go, you can see the guy with the purple, and so he's saying turn right. Okay. And see, then this guy doesn't enable, so I'm going to kill him by going over him. I think that's a bit stupid because in real life that wouldn't happen. I understand that they have to sort of trigger it in some system, and so that makes sense, but I mean in real life they would immediately move to the next one. So I'm going to hold out a boo-boo. Maximum velocity exceeded. Boo-hoo. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to move right up to him, and then okay, see, so he hands off to the next person. Next person. Come round, come round. Cool, hands off to the next person. So he's gonna go keep right. And I found that their instructions are not as good because I really would prefer to have this jet lined up as well as possible, even though the game technically straightens it out for you. Alright, here we go, so nice and straight. That's terrible parking, sorry team. Okay, and now he signals us to stop. Throttle down. Okay, so he crosses over, and so that means that now we're going to set our wing sweep all the way forward. Click it in, close this down, and hit the master reset. And we should see our wings come backwards. Well, into the full open position. Now we're going to test our wing sweep. So you'll see down here, we'll just do that, lol. You'll see we're currently in manual. And so what we're going to do is we're going to switch it all the way back just to test that it's working. Cool. And now that it's working, we'll put ourselves into full auto. Okay, next we're going to deploy our flaps. So if we look left here, push that, you'll see it opens up and signals in red that flaps are deployed. Excellent. Okay. So next up we need to kneel the aircraft. And so we will push it down into kneel. You'll see. So what's happening now, I'll quickly try and show you underneath, is that person is connecting the bar to the jet. Alright, and then what's happened now, let me reset my seating position. Excellent, you'll see now they are directing me to throttle up and basically get the jet over the catapult to hook in. And so it does sometimes take a bit of juice. And so we'll power up, and you see now we hit, and it's like a little bump. I'll actually show you. It's quite, you see there? I've got to get the jet over that steel thing, and so that he keeps going faster, faster, faster. And there we go. We're over. Hands are down. As you show now. Click. It's in. And then this guy walks away. Alright. And so now we are pretty much good to go. And yes, How about that for sunrise? So, okay, team, a couple of things are going to happen in short succession now. Okay, so now he's going to be telling us to move the throttle up and move it forward to hook. Yeah, we've done that. And now we're going to set our trim. And so let's have a look down here. Trim is over here, and so we'll trim it up. No, other way. Bang, 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 bang to there. So trim is done. We verified that the speed brakes are in. Confirmed. Now, the shooter should tell us that we should be putting our engines up to mil power, but I don't know why it doesn't seem to do that here. And so, mil power, if for those who don't know, you'll see it's just down here. And so we just push it up a little bit, and so that's enough for us to take off. You do not use afterburners. Okay, now we're going to do a quick wipeout check of the controls. And so we'll push forwards. We'll pull backwards, we'll pull full left, pull full right, we'll check rudder left, rudder right, we can't really check that. Check engine instruments, no warnings, check, we're really good to go. And then all we have to do now is salute and take off into the sunrise. Alright, here we go, mouse out of the way, and go. We're off. Click. Maybe a little blackout or two. No? Oh, that's pretty good. And then immediately we're going to go with gears up, flaps up, and then we're done. So we're going to head into cruise setup and bring that power down a little bit. Woo! There we go. We are flying. Maybe bump up that brightness just a little bit. Alright, cool. So now we're going to attempt a landing, and this is definitely the hardest part for sure. And so what we're going to do is we're going to come around, we're going to enter into the pattern, and then we're going to fly along the ship on its right side. And I know there's a technical term for that, but let's stick with the right side. So we'll fly along the right side, and then we're going to turn in front of it, and we slowly come down, enabling everything, and then we should come in for a hopefully safe landing. Cool, there we go. So what do we want to do? A couple of things. So what we want to do is first contact the ship and tell them that we want to do this. And so we're going to go over here, ATC, Truman, F2, and we are
Marshall 010.
inbound.
Marking Moms 135. For warp. Angels 2.5. State 5.3.
010. Lone Warrior Marshall, case 3 recovery, CV1 approach. Expect final bearing. Niner. Altimeter is 29.93. 010. Marshall Mothers 279. Radio 21. DME Angels 6.
010.
We're established.
Angels 4.5. State 5.3.
010. Roger, state 5.2.
Cool. And I've configured a little waypoint just to make it easy for me to insert myself into the rough right position. But the good news is we can pretty much see this here. Now, altitude is, what's that, 4,600 feet at the moment. We need to bring that down to about 800. Speed around about 350 knots. So we're going to start bringing ourselves down and into the pattern. And then we're going to go through various checks. Now, we will need to enable landing mode. That's done. And then we will indicate that we are commencing. Now, if you're after doing something that's very peaceful, flying a F14 at sunrise very calmly is quite a good feeling. Look at that heart rate, 75. I'm basically asleep. Cool. So far, so good. Now, there's going to be a lot of things that have to happen in the short period for me to successfully land this. And I have to stress, it is really hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to be safe here. I would prefer to do multiple passes and stick the landing than, than the opposite, which is crash into the boat, the ship. Easier said than done, though. Right, so let's bring our altitude down, bring our throttle down, and tell them
010. Commencing. State 5.0. Altimeter 29.93.
And so we can enable our hook. Hook is down.
010. Radar contact 3 miles. Expect final bearing 9er. 010. Switch approach.
010.
Okay, we're not going for a landing yet. That is not the plan. We're first going to do a flyby, altitude 1,400. Let's trim our jet down a little bit. Okay, excellent. We'll do a flyby. We're technically in the pattern now, a little bit loose, but we're within margin. Okay, so here we go. We are going to enable air brake. Speed's good. Deploying gear. Watching that altitude. Bringing flaps out. Giving a bit more speed here. DLC is out, which is good. Let's see if it works. Yep, DLC is activated. Excellent. And now we're focusing on that E. The E is our AOA. As you can see there, AOA is telling us to slow down a little bit, but I'm also going to bring the nose up a little bit, and so we'll just bring the volume down just a little bit. What's our speed? Yeah, that's pretty good. See that E slowly coming down? I just want to trim the jet a little bit better. I'm having to hold back the angle here, which is not good. We want it just to be neutral. Like that. It should just sit there without me having to work it. Okay, that's pretty good trim. We're on the low side, but we're also coming. There we go. You see that orange light that popped up on the left, the donut? That shows that we're looking good. Alright, so let's have a look. We should start turning now. We should have actually started turning a while ago, but that's alright. Okay, so you can see that E dropping. That means that my throttle is coming down, and that's not good. Losing height. See the jet starting to flicker. So quickly bring my throttle back up just to counter that. We need to get up where altitude is quite low, so I'll do a little bit of an increase here. Lots to do at the same time. Okay, let's turn our jet now properly. Okay, we can see the ball. Okay, that's looking decent. Okay, now I can't actually see indicators, but here we go. .069 Tomcat ball manual. Oh my god! We did it first time! Are you kidding me? Yes! Yeah, no proper communication.
Two-wire.
And the two-wire. What? Yes! Come on! Woo! Oh my goodness, yeah, proper communication. I don't even know what I had to do there to do it. I did tell them I'm inbound. Okay, so immediately we undo hook, enable nose wheel steering, rotate. That did enable nose wheel steering. There we go for some reason. It's not working for some reason. Anyway, we will then park it here and just chill. What? Are you kidding me? Oh, that's why. What the hell? I don't think I broke them. I think that's just the... I just got penalized or something, maybe. Waiting wing fold. Yeah. So we open that up. Click that down and bring it back. Let's see his wings. No, they don't seem to want to do that. Let me just clear the master reset. You see, it's not doing it. There's a couple of things. Anyways, so let's quickly have a look at our knee board because it will give us that. And so as you can see, we came in way too short, so we should have done a wider turn. We came in way too high, and then we were green, yellow, red. Oh my goodness, yeah, but that is, oh, man. What? Are you kidding me? I can't believe we did that first time. That is insane. In the membrane. Not a perfect landing. Definitely not. The thing was, as I got greedy there, in my head I knew. I was like, there's an issue here. I'm coming in very quickly, but you could see I used direct lift control, which is little flaps on the plane, and so you can just adjust. And then as I managed to get it on, I was like, yeah, I'm coming in pretty okay. And at the last second I pulled a bit of throttle out to bring her down, but obviously that plus a DLC pushing down meant that we bounced. And so that was awesome though. Seriously, this is hours and hours and hours of fun work, but hours and hours of work regardless, to learn everything, set everything up, create a mission. That's the first time in the mission I created that I actually hooked a 2-wire. And so if you don't know what that means, there are these wires that run along the aircraft carrier, and obviously your hook connects to it. And so depending on the perfect landing, I believe is the 3-wire. And so then you get 1, 2, 3, and 4 and so forth. But to hit the 2-wire, to have the jet on the plane, on the deck, oh, that's amazing. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I wasn't planning for that to happen so quickly. And so, you know what can we do here? We can try and do it again. All right, let's do it. Cool. Let's do it quickly as we possibly can. Just pull that Spotify out there. Awesome. Cool. There we go. Cool. Let's kick the tires and light the fires. Yee-ho! Alright, so first of all, we do a salute. Enable head tracking. Excellent. First thing we're going to do is say, yo, what's up, ground crew? Can we have some electricity? And then next up, ground crew, give us some air, please.
Next ground air supply. Ground power is now on. Copy.
Hot mic.
Ground air supply is now connected.
Copy.
Come in, startup, please.
ICS comm check. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Let's arm our ejection seat. Beautiful. Okay. Air source is off. Check.
Closing canopy. Check.
And this is where we had a bit of fun last time trying to get that view, right? No, I'm going backwards. It's not perfect.
All right, let's start.
So I'm going to go forwards and then sit backwards, hopefully. Oh my goodness, why is this so hard today? It's not usually this hard, but it's because the microphone is obscuring the head tracking. I need to find a better way. See, it's moving back. Anyway. Cool, those are done. And so here we're gonna go. Let's just get our head reset. Excellent. And so crank engine over to right. Wait for RPM to come up above 200, is that? 2000? Cool. She's ready. Right engine to idle. Oh my goodness, team. We did it. We absolutely did it. I mean, again, it said your communications are right, and that's something I tried to figure out last night. I was like, how do I get ILS dialed in and all of these other things? And it just seemed very complex. And I just thought, let's just try it as is. And so, yes, it's not perfect. I did set it at the top of the stream, but I feel that we will get there at some point. Okay, cool. And so all the vitals are reading correct. Nozzle is correct. Excellent. Switch to left. By the way, I wonder if I can get Jester to start ILS alignment. Doesn't look like it. Oh, almost went into board start again. Nah. Okay, never mind. Okay, so engine's ready to go up. I was thinking if I can get Jester to start doing the alignment on fine, then it saves us a bit of time later. Okay, so engine's coming up. Again, if I was doing this slowly, I would follow the checklist exactly, reading out pressures and stuff like that. But we know it's fine, so we're going to skip that for now. Cool. It's coming up. What's the... EGT come down. Everything's reading good. Cool. Right, so that's done. Now we're going to come around here, air source, both, close that down, center up, and now we're going to ground crew, ground electrical power off, please.
Turn off the ground power.
Ground crew, ground air supply. Disconnect.
Disconnect ground air supply. Ground power is now off. Copy. Ground air supply is now disconnected.
Cool, and so that's done with that. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we're gonna go in here and set up our visual controls. Set this to TID. Check. Now we can tell him to go. Let's find go.
Roger that.
Oh, I do think there's probably a quicker one we can do. I just haven't looked into it. Alright, so while he's off doing that, we check all of these are correct. You know, anti-skid is correct. And then we're going to turn on our AFCS. AFCS is done. Wing sweep in auto, that is done. Set radio to both. Set TR correct. And then come over here to ARA. Enable. Cool. Radar altitude done. Done. Okay, cool. Alright, and so you can check down here. He's at about 25% now, so that's fine. Also, it was quite hard to see coming into the sunrise. Very cool view, but hard to see. So, let's maybe just turn it down. Not everything, but just there is better. Okay, cool. So we'll check on kneeboard. Cool, all good. That's good. 3310. I wonder if that's maybe it. If we need to set that radio up. I'll try that as we go in the air. Let me just add that to my checklist here. Switch to landing view. So contact ship. I'm going to insert another line above here. Set radio to 331. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to work. Maybe I'll figure that out. Hey, a good point for you in the comments. You know, let us know. Cool, that's all good, and we will get to that in a minute. I pushed a button there. Hopefully that is not detrimental. Okay, so where are we? Cool. So now we're gonna set up data links. So data link, set mode.
Roger.
Tactical data link, check. And then again, data link, set host.
Okay.
Truman, done. Excellent. Now we have to just double check. It is set to take off. Our heads up display, and we'll enable nose wheel steering when we're ready to taxi. We'll release the parking brake, and then we will hopefully this time have a bit more of a successful taxiing. Okay, so how are we looking over here? We're about halfway. I suspect, considering the situation, I probably do not need to wait for Jester to complete this, but I don't know. It just seems like it could cause trouble. Alright, so let's head on over to a nice outside view and take a look around. So cool. Now, one thing that I'm going to be doing with this particular mission that I've created, and by the way, if you want me to send you it, I'm very happy to, but let me be clear, it is extremely bare bones, and I can imagine that there are professional mission builders out there that have done a way better job at building this out. And so, you know, let me know if you want to. But what I'm going to be doing, because as part of learning DCS, it's also learning how to build these missions as well. And so this will form the basis of my ultimate goal. Now, my ultimate goal, while we're waiting over here, my ultimate goal has always been to take off at night, technically very early morning, fly up, high speed, you know, full afterburner, get to a tanker, refuel at night, break off, do a bombing run. Once the bombing run is complete, return to base. Unfortunately, along the way back to base, there will be some air-to-air combat that we'll have to engage with, hopefully coming out positive on the other side, and then ultimately coming down for a sunrise landing. So that, being able to not see, that will be part of the actual strat for this. And so, yeah, that is the goal. And so this mission that I've created, I'm going to start adding elements to it and ultimately then doing that entire loop. The cool thing is with that is I can have an actual real Rio do this with me, and I can have other people join in. We can launch, what, 4 F14 Tomcats back to back, all go up, all refuel, one by one, all break down, all do bombing runs while maybe 2 of us are maintaining air superiority, and then coming around, and then all of us engaging targets, and then all of us coming landing one by one. So we will build this mission out. Okay, so let's see where our friend is in his configuration. Almost there. Excellent. Yeah, I'm sorry for all the flicking through, unfortunately, and maybe it's some configuration I need to do, but the head tracking that I am using, it does require recentering a lot. It can also be the way my phone is. My phone's sitting down at an angle instead of direct on, so I think it's trying to do the best job it can, but maybe there's a bit of adjustment we can do here. Anyways, let's just quickly lock it in for now so I can let up and relax. Wow, again, being able to land that first time for me was huge. Not the perfect landing, I definitely slammed the deck hard, but hey, we're able to get out of our jet, we're able to go for a beer, you know, and just have a good time. Oh, yes. Now, for you that are watching this that have never landed an F14, you would have heard me say quite a few times DLC, direct lift control. So basically, if I look around, I can't really see it on the wings now. So when the wings are out, you've got these little flaps that when you enable DLC, they come up. The jet naturally wants to lift. It's got a big wingspan. It really wants to keep flying up. And so when you enable DLC, it's basically pushing the nose of the jet down slightly. And then on my throttle, I configured a button that pushed DLC up or down. And so what you'll see right in the middle, there's this little thing with wings on it. And that's kind of indicating where we're flying towards. And so pushing that onto the carrier, you're supposed to, technically I think the term is put it on the crotch. But if you put it on the carrier, that means that if everything stays as is right now, that's where you're going to end up. And so you can use the DLC while keeping your jet on the AOA angle of attack. You can push the DLC down and slowly get that to be on the carrier, and then that means you can keep everything else as is, because if you're trying to adjust throttle input, your jet will drop or it will rise, and sometimes that can be very dangerous because there's a delay in your jet, especially if you're low and trying to throttle up. It takes 2-3
Ready to taxi.
Thank you. It takes 2 to 3 seconds for you to get that engine spooling up, and by that time it could be too late. All right, cool. Let's get into it. So enable that, reset that. We are ready to taxi. And so how do we do that? So firstly, let me just adjust that. So we are going to enable nose wheel steering, disengage parking brake, and then we will slowly throttle up, keeping our finger on the brake. See, I'm just doing exactly. There we go. Thank you. Hello, buddy. That's exactly what I was doing last time. Maybe it was because I wasn't going forward enough. There we go. So he switches off. We're going to give this one a wide berth this time. See, so he's telling to turn left, but I want to get the alignment as good as possible. He's saying it's looking good, but it's pretty average, but alright. Just to come right, straight. Cool, and stop, throttle down. Okay, cool. So hands are down. And so next up, we're going to push our wing sweep all the way forward. Click it down, close that, Master reset. Wings are coming forward. Excellent. Now we're going to test the full range. And so we do this and we should see the wings move all the way back. Check. And then we set it to auto. Wings should come all the way forward. Check. Excellent. Now we need to kneel the jet. Oh, first flaps actually. So check. Flaps are deployed. Cool. And now we need to kneel the jet. So we come down here. Ooh. To kneel. So you can see the jet coming down slowly. Alright. Okay. So, happy to go forward. So we're just going to try and climb over the catapult. Catapult hook, I guess. Might need an additional bit of power to get over the hump. It's moving, up, 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 up. Bit more power. I know it doesn't matter how much power I give, but I'm already at mill power. Come on, get over the hump, you. There we go. Throttle down. Cool. And so there's a person underneath the jet right now, just making sure that it hooks in correctly. And it is. Alright, so now we do a couple of things in succession. So first and foremost, we're going to check our trim. Going to bring our trim up by a couple of degrees. Oh, excellent. Oh. Ah, there we go. Sorry, the game just got stuck there for a second. Okay, then we move our throttle up to mill power. Look back, and here we do our checks. So full forward, full aft, full left, full right, rudder left, rudder right. Check engine, everything's good, no warnings. Reset, salute. And here we go. Click.
We're Joker.
Okay, that's interesting to say. Alright, so gears up, flaps up, slight turn to the right, get out of the path of the carrier, bring our power down. And so why he was shouting Joke as a configuration, but this game, come on, we'll see there, the Joker is 4,000 pounds. And we've just reached that, so that's all. Cool. So we'll throttle back a little bit. Set to cruise. We're no longer in landing. Don't need TID, so we can switch that. Oh. TID navigation, check. All right. And relax a little bit. So this is something I did say I want to get sorted, is get the radio configured. Maybe that is the difference. Just trying to get trim to level off. Altitude is climbing slowly. That's fine. Okay, and so how do we do this? So I think we do this. We go radio, tune manual.
Okay.
Cool, and we should see him dial in the radio there to that. Let me check that was the right one. Was it 33100? Yep, that's right. Cool, hopefully that's the one we needed. Cool. Ooh, that's a bit of a wide zoom. There we go. Beautiful. Trim that jet. Get it flying nicely. Okay, so let's start our descent and turn in. And so let's contact ATC. Mr. Truman.
Marshall 010. Marking Moms 15847. Angels 5.5. State 5.3.
We'll be coming in for a landing.
010. Lone Warrior Marshall, case 3 recovery, CV1 approach. Expect final bearing. Niner. Altimeter is 29.93. 010. Marshall Mothers 279. Radio 21. DME Angels 6. Expected approach time is 33.
Cool.
010. Established Angels 6. State 5.2.
Alright, so
010. Roger, state 5.2.
let's bring our altitude down. I need to upgrade the quality of our mirrors. It'd be the most beautiful view that right now. Okay, so how are we looking? We want to bring it down, like I said earlier, 800 feet, roughly 350 knots. We're doing 300 knots at this point. No, we're not. We're at 600 knots, so. So let's keep it nice and straight. Still a decent amount of distance out from there we go, bit of a steep angle there. Let's get it down even more. Seems like the radio has changed again. Again, this is where learning a bit more about this will help. Okay, so we are going to commence.
010. Commencing. State 5.0. Altimeter 29.93.
Let's turn.
010. Radar contact 9 miles. Expect final bearing. Niner. 010. Switch approach.
010.
Okay, just above 1,000 feet at the moment. Go fly into the sun. Cool. Aircraft is trimmed a little bit nose down. We'll bring that up. We're holding at 1,000, coming in nice and slow. Alright, so let's give them some intent. Drop down our hook. Okay, now we're at 800, so let's bring the nose up. So we'll fly past the carrier, trim the jet. Hook causes a little bit of a nose down, does it? No, it's just trim. Let's get that trim up. There we go. Altitude, we're coming in a little bit lower than we should. Let's bring that up. Speed's a bit low. Let's bring that up. That's why the nose was dropping. So many things to just keep in mind as you do this. Speed's looking better. We're a little bit on the high side, but okay, here we go. So we can enable air brake. Drop the gear. And we'll start turning. Flaps are coming down. Whoa! Sheesh. Head tracking, man. Oh, let's see if I can trim my jet accordingly. Whoa, something's weird's going on. Suddenly it's just badly banking to the left, and I think that's a target thing, so I'm just going to pull target out. You want to see this run configuration again, and then hopefully... No, it's so strange. There's something weird going on. It's like the plane's broken. I've got to keep a consistent throttle here. Okay, well, we'll have to work with what we've got. Okay, and so I want to enable DLC. DLC is not enabling. That's a problem. Why is that? What's our speed? Speed's fine. This makes no sense. I'm trying to do a full right trim. Nothing's working. This is weird, man. What the hell? Okay, well, we'll have to bring the... Oh, we're quite low as well. Altitude. No, altitude's fine. Alright, we're going to have to do this without DLC then. Coming round. Yeah, DLC is malfunctioned. Yeah. There's probably some logical reason for that. Okay. Coming around. And landing without DLC will be so hard, but we will give it a go. Okay. Get the nose up. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. 069 Tomcat. Ball. Coming in skew, not sure why. That's so strange. You see how weird that looks? That's okay, maybe this gives us a second to figure out why our DLC isn't working. Let's just have a look. Is the plane configured? Everything's configured. Flaps are down, everything's down. Very strange. So maybe let's undo things. So we'll bring the hook up, bring it down, bring the air brakes in, air brakes out, flaps up, flaps down, landing gear up, Landing gear is still coming up, so we'll wait for that to complete its cycle. Done. Drop landing gear down. Bring our altitude down. You see, you see, there's still that thing that's broken, whatever that is. Maybe that's something I caused. I'd love to hear in the comment section what your thoughts are on that. The reason why I can see the DLC is not enabling is because in my mirrors I can actually see the wings and DLC is not popping up. Now it could be that either I'm going too fast and my altitude is maybe too high. That could also be it. Okay, so let's try and bring that altitude down a little bit more. Nope, DLC is not working. Okay. We will have to... Oh, now that sun's making it impossible to see. No, I can't see shit. Great idea to make the stream look good. Okay, we are going manual. I'm going to try and set this puppy down manually. By eyes only. Let's bring it a little bit to the left. So yeah, I'm not coming in at the right angle. Yeah, we're dropping throttle. Coming down to the right. Just drop the throttle a lot there. Yeah, and broke the landing gear at the same time.
Bebop bolter. Okay.
Alright team, so yeah, without DLC that's really hard and we're not being able to properly see, very tricky, and I guess I just reached the point where I was like, alright, well that's not working. So I tell you what, let's have a little bit of fun here because actually no, it's quite hard. Frustratingly, I set up, let's see, oh, the key buttons for play doesn't work when I have my target enabled. You learn all these things on screen. Oh, did I shift R? That's all right, we'll wait for that. So what I want to do is I want to, similar to what I did before, is just do a landing using the tutorial or the training. But the problem we have here is, for whatever reason, and this is what, when you watch my previous stream, you'll see I had a lot of trouble landing. The moment you have DLC, direct lift control, it becomes extremely easy. But for whatever reason, the tutorial, sometimes DLC does not enable. Now again, it could be that trying to enable it when you are, and I should maybe check my warning messages. If you're trying to land without DLC, it's extremely hard, and it could be that maybe I'm going in too fast, and then when I try and enable DLC, something goes wrong. Who knows? Who knows? Alrighty. Okay, so let's get into it. We want to quit to main menu, close out, cancel that, and so we're going to go training, F14 basics, carrier, case 1 trap. Fire that up. While that's loading up, we will get ready. And so this is actually a guided process, and so again, if you're if you're new to this and you want to learn how to do it the same way I did, definitely read the manual. It's very easy to go through. In fact, I'll just quickly fire that up here just to show you what it's all about. So Chuck's guides, open that up, landing, carrier, case 1. And you see, this is the route we sort of flew in, came around. did this turn come down, but for whatever reason DLC failed us the last time. And it just explains in detail all the buttons, everything, what it means, why you're doing, what is an AOA indicator, and. Oh, very, very controversial. When you get to here, this section here, all right, let me just move across. Cross checks, cross weight, airspeed, angle of attack, What happens is in the training, the jester actually reads out this list of things that are done. But it turns out they're not actually done. It's just an audio message that plays when you fly through a gate. So you should not trust that because it's a DLC enabled. He says that every time and I go, oh, okay, cool. And then I use DLC and it doesn't work. And so that for me was a bit of a what the fang situation. Anyways, let's get down into it. And we are going to just, firstly, always, before you start a mission, check your throttle, pull it back. Not necessary to idle. If you're in flight, probably push it up to mil power, which is about, in my situation, about a centimeter forward from the back side. And then, yeah, we'll just have a chill fly. Cool, so here we go. Mirror up.
Good afternoon, pilot. Today is day 1 of carrier quals in the F14B. I hope you studied the briefing diagram prior to the flight. Case 1 is the visual landing procedure in fair weather and is very similar to the FCLP pattern you used previously. Only difference being the size of the landing area and the arresting gear. Your Rio will help you with the checklist. You are lined up on the initial to the boat with your wings swept and the HUD in landing mode. Maintained 800 feet and 350 knots. As in the previous tutorial, a series of gates will help to guide you in the pattern. The carrier will be stationary, but with a strong wind down the deck. If you want, lower the hook for an arrested landing, or keep it raised if you want to make multiple attempts.
Just quickly put the screen. Oh no, that's not what we wanted. I'm just messing around quickly with my heart, trying to put it, because I've just disabled the chat for now, just to put it in a place where it doesn't look completely stupid. Actually, technically, I keep saying to myself, don't do these things on stream, and I do. And that's just part of the learning experience. You know, when you watch pro streamers, they've got everything figured out. That's usually because they're playing the same style of game over and over and over. Whereas, you know, I don't do that sort of stuff. Okay, so we're G to G. Where are we? We're now very high, which is fine.
Without trapping.
Enable that. Cool. We need to bring this jet down. We're going to enable our hook and air brake. We need to scrub off a lot of speed very quickly. We'll go gears down.
Okay, here we go. Brake left, extend the speed brake, bank left 45 to 60 degrees, and maintain about a 3G turn at 800 feet.
Flaps
Remember,
down.
wings to auto at 280 knots, wheels down at 250, and flaps down at 225 knots. Extend your DLC and steadily descend so that you reach 600 feet
DLC's
on the
enabled?
downwind.
That's good. Okay, telling me it needs a bit more speed.
Try to maintain on-speed AOA, the yellow donut on the AOA indicator, or the
So
E-bracket
focused on
around the
DLC.
reference point in the HUD. Maintain 600 feet.
Just forgot to get throttle up.
Landing checklist. Wing sweep, 20 degrees, auto. Wheels,
Jeez, come
3
on,
down.
baby.
SAS, pod, flaps, pull down. DLC,
Come on.
checked. Hook, down.
There we go.
Harness, locked.
She
Speed
wants
brakes.
more speed. Whoa!
Extended. Brakes, checked.
So
Fuel.
I thought this was going to be
Check
easy,
one.
easy. Just think
Checklist
about one,
complete.
missed one thing, get a bit complacent. Okay, let's get this plane trimmed correctly. Oh my goodness. So much to have to happen in such a short period of time. Get the trim up. Okay, trim's better. Slow it down. DLC
Begin
is
your
still
turn
enabled.
when you see the rundown
This
of
is
the ship. Bank left between 27 and 30 degrees, maintain on-speed AOA, and descend at about 300 feet per minute. Ideally, you want to hit 450 feet at the 90 and enter the groove at 360 feet at 3/4 of a mile.
Okay, so far looking good. Airspeed's looking great. Getting it into the E is looking good.
Friendly, 11 o'clock, 1 mile. 111, Tomcat, ball, 4.1.
069.
Use DLC to
Tomcat.
adjust your glide path. Remember
Ball.
your scan. Ball, lineup, angle of attack. Do not flare the aircraft, and remember to power up when touching the deck in case you miss the
Turn,
wires
baby,
and have to
turn.
bolter.
Turn. We need more power. Give us more power. We have to bolter. Get up, get up, get up. Woo! I popped the throttle out there and it just dropped down, so that's alright. We'll come around. I definitely have to figure out this head tracking, because basically what happens is it just suddenly becomes super askew and you've got to then reset it the whole time. That's not the end of it. Okay. So DLC has gone down again, and so let's bring out the throttle. This, you see, the fact that I landed first time, that shows how absolutely insane that achievement was. Not easy. Okay. And so we'll try and enable DLC again. DLC is working. Very good. Throttle up. I might have not given it enough juice. Come on, AOA. Bring her up. Nice. DLC is operating. Okay. Cool, bring her around. Okay, nose up. DLC down. Oh, I'm too fast. This is a bit gutsy.
Well done, pilot. You landed a Tomcat on a carrier.
That was a bit
Throttle
touch
to
and
idle,
go.
raise the hook, flaps up, and sweep the wings.
Well, we caught the 4-wire.
Did not give it enough throttle. If it's out, you didn't. Turn nose wheel steering on and taxi off to the right. You can consult the in-game knee board for your approach grade and statistics.
Boom.
This concludes the tutorial. You may exit the tutorial or take off again for another attempt.
Why is my brake not working? Brake's not working. Jeez. See, then it's just there's something wrong here. And now I'm probably hitting another airplane. That's why. Okay, cool. Well, hey, we landed. So let's quickly have a look at how we did that time. It's not going to be pretty. Yeah, you see I came in ridiculously high and then dropped it down. Wire number 4. That's okay. Time in the groove. 36 seconds long. Okay, cool. I'm going to do that one more time. I felt that it could have been done better, and because we did have a bolter and a go around, and also I came in, and that's I think where practice is really going to help here, because it's trying to understand what is too high and what is too low. And a thing I find that's quite hard is you're turning, and as you're turning, you suddenly there's a carrier, and that's where these people who do this for real have done, I would imagine, almost thousands of hours of flying before they do carrier landings. And then they would have done thousands of hours of carrier sim training before they actually do it for real. I'm guessing, but I would imagine that is the case. And so in that case, you know, for them, they're doing what I've done, but I've only done maybe, 50 attempts? And not even that, and some of them pretty bad. All right, let's go. Mirror on, and mirror is on. Excellent.
Good afternoon, pilot.
Hello.
Today is day 1 of carrier quals in the F14B. I hope you studied the briefing diagram prior to the flight. Case 1 is the visual landing procedure in fair weather and is very similar to the FCLP pattern you used previously. Only difference being the size of the landing area and the arresting gear. Your RIO will help you with the checklist. You are lined up on the initial to the boat with your wings swept and the HUD in landing mode. Maintain 800 feet and 350 knots. As in the previous tutorial, a series of gates will help to guide you in the pattern. The carrier will be stationary, but with a strong wind down the deck. If you want, lower the hook for an arrested landing, or keep it raised if you want to make multiple attempts without trapping.
Hook is down. Gonna altitude down nice and slowly, maintaining our 350 knots. Oh, we're gonna hit that 800 knots exactly the right time. That's very good. 800 feet of altitude, sorry, and then we'll bring the nose up. Excellent, and now we're gonna go for air brake, gears, and we'll do flaps in the turn. See, it pitches the plane's nose down, so we trim that out a little bit.
Okay, here we go.
We'll start turning.
Brake left, extend the speed brake, bank left 45 to 60 degrees, and maintain about a 3G turn at 800 feet.
Flaps
Remember,
enabled.
wings to auto at 280 knots, wheels down at 250, and flaps down at 225 knots.
Good.
Extend your DLC and steadily descend so that you reach 600 feet on the downwind.
DCS, AOA, let's just make sure we don't run out of throttle like we did last time.
Try to maintain on-speed AOA,
DLC's
the yellow
enabled.
donut on the AOA indicator, or the E-bracket around the reference point in the HUD. Maintain 600 feet.
Landing checklist. Wing sweep, 20 degrees, auto. Wheels, 3 down. SAS, pod, flaps, pull down. DLC, checked. Hook, down. Harness, locked. Speed brakes, extended. Brakes, checked. Fuel, 4.1. Checklist complete.
Just adjusting my trim there a little bit.
Begin
think
your
I'm
turn
going
when you
to
see the
lock
rundown
this
of the
view
ship.
because
Bank left between
annoyingly
27 and
it
30
just
degrees.
makes it really hard
Maintain
with this
on-speed
current
AOA
fit.
and descend at about 300 feet per minute. Ideally, you want to hit 450 feet at the 90 and enter the groove at 360 feet at 3/4 of a mile.
Check. Trying to drift the plane. It's very hard to actually get it through these squares. It seems like it should be easy, but it's not. Okay, airway's looking good. Looking on point. Looking good. Coming around.
111, Tomcat, ball, 4.1.
069
Fly the ball.
Tomcat Ball
Use
40.
DLC to adjust your glide path. Remember your
Manual.
scan. Ball, lineup, angle of attack. Do not flare the aircraft, and remember to power up when touching the deck in case you miss the wires and have to bolter.
Strange. Definitely put it down a bit early, and you see that's gonna come with experience. What actually happened there is probably gonna shout blah 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 blah.
Almost opened the canopy there.
Ah, funny. You're so funny, Justin. Why don't you just shut up and just sit back there and do your thing? Kidding. So I felt
Friendly, 11 o'clock, 1 mile.
Let's go and say hello to that friendly, shall we? Hello. Okay. And so what happened is I didn't think I'd get the plane down on deck. And so I started panicking. I started doing all kinds of bad stuff. And so DLC is open. What's our speed? Looking okay. Bring this around. That's going to bring our AOA into danger zone. Highway to the danger zone. Okay. It's looking good. Yeah, and so with experience, you will trust that your jet's going to come down naturally. Ooh. Gotta get that AOA up a little bit. That's looking better. We're a little bit low. Pull the jet up a little bit. Throttle's looking good. Better position this time. Coming around. Okay. And there we go. And start using the DLC. Bring the plane to the right a little bit. Probably use flaps in this case. A little bit low, it says. We'll bring her up. Yes.
Well done, pilot. You landed a Tomcat on a carrier.
That was the one wire.
Raise the hook,
The one wire.
flaps up, and sweep the wings. Retract speed brake in case you did not give it enough throttle. If it's out, you didn't. Turn nose wheel steering on and taxi off to the right. You can consult the in-game knee board for your approach grade and statistics. This concludes the tutorial. You may exit the tutorial
What the
or take
hell?
off again for another attempt.
I just configure my tracking software because it's gone nutso. There we go. And so we need to disable DLC. But you see now DLC, it seems there's something that's going wrong here. Anyway, nose wheel steering enabled. Turn the jet. Let's just at least get it off the runway. Slow it down. Apply the brake. You see there, now brake doesn't work for whatever reason. I think there's some configuration issues I've got with my target software. Yeah, brake's not working at all. There we go. Got that figured out in the end. And then this is always the interesting thing for me is sort of like, well, how do I get my... There we go. And you see now, because DLC is enabled... Oh, I wonder if that's a trim setting. Okay, so that goes into there. And then we should be able to open this up. Bring it back. I'm not sure why that is. Somebody in the comment section will tell me. Maybe a master reset. You see, I can move it forward, but I can't move it all the way aft. So there must be some sort of a setting. I don't know if it's flaps or something. Though flaps is all the way up as it should be. There we go. Now it enables. So maybe it takes... Oh, hang on. I think I read about it. Anyway, so wings are fully stored. And so nothing to do now but to... turn the puppy off. There's a helicopter coming up. Oh, there we go. Oh, a little friendly. There we go, team. There we go. We've done it a few times. We've done it a few times. So, let's head on over here. So, yes, not without its struggles, but that is because this is definitely not easy. And as mentioned before, there is still a lot for us to learn and do to be able to get to a point where it is extremely comfortable. The thing is, if you watch my first stream, there were so many things that I had to do back to back, and you get, you know, situational overload or whatever they call it, where there's so many things you're trying to concentrate on, you forget one thing, and the next moment you look and you go, oh, I don't have enough airspeed, and your plane starts dropping out of the sky. And so learning by doing over and over and over, you eventually just go click, and then you go, these are 3 things I check, and you just rotate through it. As a good example, there's a particular mission with the Frogfoot that I flew quite a few times, where you actually do a instrument landing at night through a thunderstorm. Still one of my favorites, just to fire up and just fly and just relax. And so there, after doing it a few times, I learned that there are 3 things that I just keep my eye on, and I just keep rotating, and I know what they need to be in for me to have a successful scenario. And so this is going to be what I need to do, because not that I'm saying any of the other things of flying a Tomcat is easy. You know, we now have to learn how to refuel with a carrier, not with a carrier, sorry, with a tanker. And that in itself will be really, really hard. I'm really excited about that. I want to do a very high level one as well. Beautiful views and stuff like that. So watch out for that. That'll be our next stream. But being able to consistently land manual, because there is an auto function, manual, that is definitely going to be, you know, one of the goals should I want to do a successful mission. Because imagine doing this beautiful start, launch, tanker, bombing run, air-to-air combat, and then I bork it and I crash it into the back of the aircraft carrier. So, but yeah, if you enjoyed this, tell me what you thought of it. You know, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you've played this before and there's things that I've missed that could improve that setup, that mission, you know, like for instance, when I landed, it said that you didn't do any communications. And so feel free to drop that in the comments. I'd love to learn a little bit here, so I'd appreciate that. But hey, as always, you know, if you want to learn more about me, you want to support me, and I do ask you to try, if you can, and support me. There's this process of, you know, being able to get to a certain amount of followers on Twitch before I can improve my stream quality. So all my other streams, the bitrate is suffering because of my entry-level Twitch account. And so please give us a like, give us a follow, and give us a subscribe if you're on YouTube or any of the other streaming channels. And then, yeah, more information, just head over to my website, nextleveljj.com, up here somewhere. There it is. And I will be releasing my schedule for this week now after that. So keep your eyes on that. Lots of fun coming. More Rocket League, more Clair Obscur, more racing, bit of Hades in there too. So check that out. And then, as always, Stream Beats by Harris Heller. They're just the best. Music just keeps delivering. It's, for me, sometimes the most amazing thing that I get to play their music. Okay, team, you take care. Thanks for watching. I'll see you at the next one. Down.